welcome to this meetings for the Inner East Community Committees. Meetings. My name is Councillor Arif Hussain and I'm going to be chair this meetings. And the Inner East Community Committee is covered by Beaumont of Richmond Hill, Gipton and Hare Hills, Killingbeck and Seacroft wards, where is a communities where the people, councillors have a chance to, to speak or consider the decisions and make the decisions for the party, for the areas, and for the youth and others service, which one's basically very important for each different ward, where we can openly discussion and for discussion on to the thing is. So I think is could I now invite to members and officers to themselves to introduce. I will be start from the councillors. Ron Graham.
Good evening, everybody. It's Councillor Ron Graham, Beaumont and Richmond Hill ward. No DOIs have I to go forward on here tonight, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think the next one is apologies, Tasha's Councillor Asker Khan. So next is Councillor Denise. I'm not sure she joined or not yet. Denise Reagan.
She's not on the call yet, Chair.
Not yet. Okay. The next one is from the Gipton and Hare Hills Councillor Salma Arif.
Are we just doing introductions?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Councillor Salma Arif. I'm a councillor for Gipton and Hare Hills.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Next is Councillor Camilla Maqsood.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Councillor Camilla Maqsood from Gipton and Hare Hills.
Thank you very much. Next one from Killingbeck and Seacroft. Paul Drinkwater.
It's not on the call, Chair.
Not on the call. Okay. Councillor Katie Dyer.
Good morning. No, it's not morning. Gosh.
Definitely not.
It's afternoon or possibly evening. Good afternoon or evening, everybody. I'm Katie Dye, councillor for Killingbeck and Seacroft.
Have you had your breakfast?
Just a bit.
Councillor David Jenkins, please.
Good late afternoon to everybody, and my name is Councillor David Jenkins and I represent Killingbeck and Seacroft.
Thank you very much to all to the elected members to introducing you. Now to the officers, please. All right, okay. Governance officer.
Thanks, Chair. And hello, everyone. It's Natasha Prosser and I'm the governance officer.
Head of the locality.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. It's Liz Jamin, Head of Locality Partnerships.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I think is then is a Carl in here.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Carlin Schliff and I'm the Community Committee Team Manager.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there's anybody else, Tasha?
Chair, we just have Jeremy Lunn, who's
well,
the highway.
Yeah, well, are we going to introduce later on? No, at the moment.
Richard Cook here, Chair. We've got Richard. We've got Richard Cook here as well, Chair.
Richard Cook.
Yeah.
Councillor, it's Richard Cook, Seacroft Highways Depot.
Richard, good evening. How are you?
Not too bad yourself.
Thank you very much. Welcome to tonight's meetings. So, we can go. Are you being replaced by the Germany's Richard?
Jeremy's here to do the presentation on the.
Sorry, Germany as well. Yeah, Germany. Can you introduce yourself, please?
I can, yeah, Councillor Reagan. Sorry, I'm late. I couldn't get in the zone.
Okay, no problem, Councillor Reagan. Good evening. So, introduce yourself, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Jeremy Lone. I'm from the Highways and Transportation, and I'll be delivering some information with regards to our winter service. And I'll be doing that in combination with Richard, who may be able to answer some of your operational questions, should there be any.
All right. Okay. And I think this is the last and final ones left. Is a Chad?
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Chad Newton, Sustainable Energy and Air Quality Team at Leeds City Council, and good evening, everyone.
Right, okay, thank you very much, and welcome to all officers on tonight's Inner East Community Committee meetings, please. Right, okay, Tasha, to you now. Next one is item 126, please.
Thanks, Chair. So agenda item 1, there's no appeals against the refusal of inspection of documents. Agenda item 2, there's no items which require the exclusion of the press and the public. Agenda item 3, I'm not aware of any late items of business. And agenda item 4, please can I ask members to declare any interests?
Any
No
member have
declarations
any?
of interest, Chair.
Sorry, can you repeat the council run?
No declarations of interest, DOIs, no declaration at all.
All right, okay, that's good. Anybody else, please? Thank you, carry on. Tasha, please.
Thanks, Chair. So apologies have been received from Councillors Khan. I'm not aware of any other apologies tonight. And then agenda item 6 is the open forum, and we don't have anybody that's joined us. So may I suggest that we move on to the next agenda item?
All right, okay. So basically next is straight to the item 7, yeah?
Correct, Chair. Minutes of the previous meeting.
Minute of the previous meetings. The members who's attended the last community committee, which was, I think it was the 21st of September 2021.
That's correct.
Is any, well, are they all minutes are correct onto the record?
Move on, Chair.
Yes, Chair, move on.
Second as well, yeah? Is that okay, Tasha, yeah?
Yeah, that's fine, Chair. So because it's a consultative forum, we'll just bring them at the next meeting so we can formally approve them, but thank you.
That's fine, no problem at all. Thank you very much. So basically, this is item 8.
Could I, before you move off of that, Chair, on the minutes of the meeting, for the previous meeting, right?
Yes.
On the minutes, you have ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, on the first pages. What I've actually tried to highlight there for you, Chair, is as I go on with this situation of the Alternative Dispute Resolution, it's to save on procurement. And that's what I'd like to say, Chair, on get it minuted.
Is that okay, Tasha, yeah?
That's part of the
You got that one, yeah?
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody, please? Before I'm going to the next item?
David.
No? Thank you very much.
Sorry,
David,
Councillor Hussain, through the chair. We did ask under item 21 about Leeds Gate. So it'd be, I think, good to try and get somebody from Leeds Gate to come to one of the meetings because there's quite a bit of work going on around liaison with the travelling community. So I just didn't want to lose it as an option. And also, I think, and later on, I think we also asked if somebody from domestic violence team could come and talk about, or the local care partnerships about work around domestic violence.
Can we talk at this one to the any other business? The last item?
Yeah,
Is that
I can
okay
do.
with you, David, please?
Yeah, okay.
Is that okay, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, we can discuss it because we do have any other business under the last item on to the agenda, isn't it? Always. So we can discuss about this. That's no problem at all. Right. So any of those members have any question, any concern, please? No, Tasha?
No, Chair.
No. Okay. Thank you very much. So moving on to the item 8, which one is a chance, please. So you have nearly about 20 minutes, please, for presentations, and also the members, if they do have any concern or question, please. So try your best.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'm just going to present my screen because I've got a presentation to share as well. So while that's setting up, I'll just provide a brief kind of overview. I will give a 5 to 10 minute presentation on kind of to provide an update on the climate emergency work taking place in the Inner East area. Happy to take any questions at the end, and then at your discretion, Chair, and depending on timing, I can provide an overview of what's going on in the city more broadly and what our climate action plan is, but it's entirely up to you. So before I start the presentation, I just want to kind of set the scene a little. So we know, having done a big Leeds climate conversation and engaged with 8,000 people, that there is widespread support from Leeds residents to see us act on climate change. But we do also understand that, you know, it can sometimes feel like a big, you know, sometimes distant problem, and that to many people it isn't the biggest issue they're always necessarily thinking about at the end of the day. But what I hope will come across when we talk about some of the things that we're doing is that not only will a lot of this work tackle climate change, but it will also help us address and deliver on some of the council's other strategic priorities. So helping to improve the health and well-being of people in the city by improving air quality, for example, protecting against cold-related illnesses, and helping local residents and businesses save money by improving energy efficiency of buildings as well. So I think it's very important to highlight that there are other opportunities, and I think sometimes when it comes to climate change, people spend a lot of time talking about the impacts and not the opportunities. And although there is a lot of work to do as well, there's a lot of employment opportunities as well that will, you know, we can secure with the emerging industries, and we have already started to see here in Leeds. So I wanted to highlight that first of all. So the slide that you can see here provides a summary, and I'll just go through some of the things that's happening in the inner east area. This only relates, I should say, to the work that's being done by the Sustainable Energy and Air Quality team that I'm here to represent. As you might imagine, the climate emergency work kind of touches all different parts of the council. And so I know colleagues in housing, in parks and countryside, in highways are also doing quite a lot of good work on this agenda as well. But in the Sustainable Energy and Air Quality team, we're the team that kind of leads on the coordination of a lot of the climate emergency work, and we also deliver projects ourselves. We lead the public sector decarbonisation scheme, where we secured £25 million worth of government funding to decarbonise a lot of kind of schools, leisure centres, council buildings across the city. And in this area, in the inner east area, you know, you can see that there are schools that are getting heat pumps, LED lighting, solar panels, and several other council buildings as well are getting decarbonising measures. So that's really good. The solar panels will help us save money. Means we have to buy less from the grid, as well as cutting our carbon footprint. And also related to this, although not connected to that particular fund, we are continuing to connect more properties and buildings to the district heating scheme, which I'm sure you are all aware uses the household waste to create low carbon energy, which then gets turned into affordable heating. So I think it's called Trinity Academy now. Is going to be connected to the Leeds Pipes network, which is what we call it. Another thing that I really wanted to highlight at the moment is that we are still looking for residents and landlords to get in touch with us about our energy efficiency scheme, which is targeted at low-income homeowners. This is a scheme where residents can get free solar panels or insulation if they have a particularly cold house, so energy efficiency rating of D or below, and if they have a household income of 30k or less. What we say to people is, if you think you hit the income criteria, then please just get in touch, because we can check the energy efficiency rating, because we know that not everyone knows that. And there is a phone number or a website, and we can share details with members, you know, to help promote that scheme. And we have done targeted work in the area, but we're still looking for more applications from people to make sure we really spend all of that money and that it can benefit people across the city. And then the third scheme that I wanted to just briefly mention today is the work that we're doing around promoting zero emission vehicles, which you know, are one part of the solution to reducing the city's emissions from transport, which make up about a third of the city's carbon footprint, and also help to improve local air quality, so protecting people from the health effects of air pollution, which we know are disproportionately felt by people in communities closer to main roads. Since January, we've been giving businesses and charities and other organisations an electric van for 2 months free of charge to help them fully understand the business case and whether they can go green and save money by switching to an electric vehicle. And we know that multiple organisations in this area have benefited from that. The one I've got written down is the LS14 Trust, so a non-profit that's benefited from the scheme. And we know, we've had more than 170 organisations across the city take part in that. So that there will be multiple from this area as well. And we're also working to improve the infrastructure for electric vehicles across the city, because we know that whilst many people, the most convenient way to charge is at home or at work, people also expect a network of public charge points so when they're on the go. And so we've installed 2 rapid charge points at Asda and Hare Hills and Killingbeck, which can charge a vehicle up to 80% in about half an hour. So by the time you've come out from your shop, it should be mostly charged. So this is just some of the work that we've been doing in the last year, which is kind of making a difference to this area. The slide you can see here is a useful tool that we wanted to make members and residents aware of if they're interested in finding out more about climate change and carbon footprints from different parts of Leeds, and how that breaks down. So this is an online tool where you can zoom in and zoom out of certain areas. So I've got it up here, and you can actually click on different LSOA areas and see how that carbon footprint is comprised for the average person and how it compares to the average ward in Leeds. As you might expect, the average carbon footprint of people in most of the Inner East area is lower than average. Probably because people are less likely to drive around in cars and probably have a lower energy consumption as well. So I'm just going to click a random part of Leeds and you can see exactly the kind of information that you'd be given. So if you're interested, that is a really good tool I just wanted to highlight as well. The Sustainable Energy and Air Quality team also leads on the council's air pollution strategy and the air quality strategy. And so I can provide a brief update on that as well and answer any questions at the end if members have any. As you may be aware, the council passed a updated air quality strategy earlier this year, which set new ambitious targets for meeting World Health Organization guidelines by 2030. This was in the context of having discontinued plans for a clean air zone. And contrary to a lot of the media reports and I think some public understanding, it wasn't actually linked to the coronavirus pandemic in any way. What we've actually seen is as a result of the plans to introduce clean air zone being in place, we've seen businesses switch much faster than we'd otherwise have expected to compliant, cleaner, less polluting vehicles. And so in terms of HGVs, 4 out of 5 HGVs were compliant at the time of last summer, and 9 in 10 buses were also compliant as well, driving cleaner diesel vehicles. And we've also seen that half of the city's taxi fleet are now driving hybrid vehicles or electric vehicles. So because the average vehicle on the road is cleaner, even with the exact same levels of traffic, the city's air pollution is declining. But what we are now understanding is, and this is why the air quality strategy takes a broader approach, is actually there's other sources of pollution that we need to start addressing as well, such as pollution from kind of domestic, fossil fuel burning, wood burning, industry, and a range of different sources. So the new air quality strategy kind of sets out what we're going to start doing around that. And actually this links in with a lot of the work around decarbonising buildings, because the less we use gas boilers, for example, the less pollution from gas boilers is being emitted into the air. Councillor Arif and another councillor, I can see that there's 2 participants with their hands raised. I've only got one more slide before it's probably the most opportune time to take questions. So if I can just finish those, that'd be really useful. The final thing I'll say about air quality as well is we know that the effects of air quality, as I said, are not shared proportionately on all Leeds residents. Some people are more vulnerable to the effects of air pollution, and some people are more exposed to air pollution through their occupations or where they live. So what we're starting to do now is work more closely with the healthcare sector to share guidance and information about how people can reduce their exposure and protect themselves, particularly those that are most vulnerable. So the final slide before I stop here is just a quick summary slide of some of the ways that residents and members can potentially help this agenda if you'd like to. And so there's just a few points to promote some of the schemes that are currently live and which residents can benefit from. So there's a solar and insulation scheme, which I've told you about for low-income homeowners already. We can share social media content, any information that you will need to promote that scheme. Happy to do that. We also are still running a free electric bike trial scheme. So if anyone wants to borrow an electric bike free of charge, because they currently use transport to get or driving to get around, and they think electric bike might be suitable instead, and they want to just try it out free of charge, we've got a scheme like that until March as well. We are also trying to engage with businesses and landowners around the White Rose Forest. And then finally, for 2 comms actions as well, we have a monthly newsletter where we share updates on what's happening around the climate emergency agenda from the council's actions, but also to third-party actions as well. So please let me know if you'd like to subscribe to that. And finally, there's an opportunity with Leeds Tech, who's one of the council's partners and educational experts, to do some community climate action training, which is already happening in Seacroft, but other areas can benefit from that as well. So I'll stop there and take any questions.
Chad, thank you very much. Your very brief representation. Right, now it is open for the members. Any comment?
Yeah, Councillor Arif, I've got my hand up. Can I come in, please?
Okay, yes, Councillor Salma Arif, yeah.
Thank you for that, Chad. Chad, pains me to say this, but I'm really disappointed in what you presented. It just seems so scant in terms of what is actually going on to tackle climate change in East Leeds. Just bear with me a moment. You've come across sort of some slides of a couple of EV chargers in Hare Hills and some solar panels. This is incredibly massive in terms of climate change and what it means. I have in Hare Hills and Gipton one of the youngest population of young people. The roads, the air quality. Do we know what the air quality currently is in East Leeds, on our part of the area? What are we doing to mitigate that? I'm sorry. I just feel fairly disappointed. I just feel there isn't anything that I feel that's actually really happening in our ward or in our wards to really come in and tackle that. What engagement is happening with our residents? You talk about electric bikes that we can hire. Where can we hire them? Are they in East Leeds? Or I just need more from you, please, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So one thing I would say is I do have a longer presentation after here, but because the climate emergency is so big, there's so many things to cover, so I wasn't sure about the timing. But just to try and whistle through a few things where I can. I think the other thing I'd mention is I haven't mentioned things that are taking place by other teams as well. And so I know, for example, that our housing strategy, where the council is investing £100 million in retrofitting council housing, and I know a lot of the housing blocks in East Leeds are benefiting from that. And we've recently done work on the Shakespeares in Bermontofts, obviously, to install external wall insulation, which is making a real difference and connected to district heating. there's a lot that we're connecting more housing estates in the area to with district heating and with energy efficiency measures as well. In terms of highways, I know there are schemes in the area that are benefiting from the Connecting Leeds strategy as well. So there is a lot going on, but I try to focus on the schemes that we were leading on. And in terms of engagement, just one thing I'd mention on that is something that's happened quite recently is around engaging with young people around the green careers that are available. And I know that Dixon's Academy, not Dixon's Academy, there's East Leeds Academy in Seacroft was one of the schools that was invited to that in person. We got really good feedback, and we're just currently working on a video and some information to share with every school across Leeds as well from that event. So there is a lot of engagement going on. Just to answer the question around the bikes, they need to get picked up from the city centre, but anyone in Leeds can then benefit from them. They get picked up from Merrion House just because that's where they're stored. And in terms of air quality, I shared on the air quality slide, it's leeds.gov.uk clean air. All the air quality monitoring information and data on there is on that website. So I can get that up and share that, but it's all there. But in terms
of what is it for East Leeds? I mean, what is it for Inner East? Sorry, are the levels higher?
Well, generally, the simple answer in terms of air quality is apart from in the inner ring road, and in a couple of, I think it's Poole in Wharfdale as well. The air quality is not above the national standard, the legal limits anymore. But obviously there are no safe levels of air pollution, so that's kind of a key message of our air quality strategy. So we need to keep bringing it down. It will vary on a street by street basis depending on how close you are to a main road, for example. So you could go to the other side of the street and actually most people don't realise, but over a very short distance it makes a real difference. But in terms of where we've got our monitoring sites, all the areas of concern are either kind of in the inner ring road or as I say, Poole, because of busy roads basically. But yeah, everything is publicly available. If you go to leeds.gov.uk/clean air, you can see an air quality forecast, what we're doing, and all the data is linked there as well.
Okay, well that was helpful. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you. Who's next, please?
I think it's me, Arif.
Yeah, Denise, go on, please.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions, Chad.
Okay.
With regarding the public sector scheme, that's lovely that Trinity Academy are linking to that scheme. What are they giving us in return for that? Because it's they're closing the title. It's an academy. It's not a state-run school. So what are they giving us? Because it's our particular pipe scheme that we've put on there. So I think they need to be giving us a little bit back for the community. Secondly, with regards to the electric bikes, we've got a lot of people that have got health issues and have got disabilities. Are there any adaptable bikes that people that have not got proper balance and really good mobility, they can have we looked at that as well?
Thank you, Councillor Reagan. With the point about Trinity Academy, because I think I might have confused me slightly just by the section I've put in. So this isn't related to the government funding, the public funding. It's related to the Leeds pipe scheme, but basically they're connecting as a commercial customer. So they're paying for the energy is what they're paying for the heat is what they're giving us.
So are our residents and tenants as well?
Sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry, Councillor Reagan, I didn't quite catch that.
I said, so are our residents and tenants that live in the areas that are connected. They're paying for it as well. I think we just need to see if we can squeeze something out of this academy.
Yeah, well, I don't have any information on exactly what the commercial agreements were, and I probably wouldn't be able to share that. But I do know with regards to the district heating network, it's reaching the point now whereas new customers start connecting, it's actually bringing money back into the council. I think we've got to pay off the various loans first, but then it will start bringing money back into the council. So kind of be net positive for the authority in the long run. In terms of the electric bikes, because that was the second question that you had, there aren't currently any adaptable bikes, unfortunately, for that scheme, and that scheme's going to end in March, I'm afraid.
Well, I think I'm really, it was supposed to be an inclusive city that looks on everybody with disability or mobility or whatever, and people with age that are not used to riding bikes. Now, I'm very disappointed that we haven't got our adaptable electric bikes.
Yeah, I'll take that point away, Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who else is, please? Anybody? Any other elected members have any concerns, questions?
Yeah, I do.
Katie?
Thank you. So, yeah, I've got a few questions. Thanks, Chad. So, starting with the first one, you mentioned solar panels, LEDs, air source heat pump at Seacroft Grange Primary School, which obviously is really welcome news. Are there plans to roll that out to any other schools?
So the simple answer is yes, but the funding we have to bid for. But there are future funding rounds, and we expect there to be continue to be more funding rounds. So we're working with schools, and if you've got particular schools that you think would be interested, then please send them our way, and I can pass it on to the team that's leading on that. But the short answer is yes, but we just have to keep bidding for it before we can confirm that we're able to do more.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure we would have lots of interest in that. Okay, second one, if I may. You mentioned the solar panels for low-income households, and did you say a figure of 100 that you've got left? Is that right?
So I think there's a few hundred left.
Okay.
It's a bit difficult because we've certainly done more than 200 homes, and we've got a few more hundred applications, but we don't know yet exactly where a lot of those applications are and whether they're going to pass the checks.
Okay.
So possibly 100, possibly more, but it's difficult to say, I'm afraid, at the moment.
Okay. Well, we have been sharing that on our social media. It's good to hear that people have been taking that up, because my question was going to be, what's the uptake been like? But it sounds like it's been quite reasonable.
Yeah, it has been. Well, I mean, what I can say is, if we continue on the current trajectory, lack of interest is not going to kind of inhibit the success of the scheme. We are getting a good amount of interest. We still want to get more applications. We still want to try and particularly find some of the really, really cold buildings, some of the really, really inefficient buildings, because the most common property we're getting in is D rather than the lower ones, which are E to G. So if there's any particularly older buildings, then we really, really want those to apply. But yeah, we are getting good take up of that, fortunately.
Okay, well, we'll continue to share that, because I'm sure there'd be more certainly in our ward that'd be eligible for that. Can I keep going? I've got a few more.
Okay.
Yeah, the next one was, you talked about the electric vehicles, and I know LS14 Trust have benefited from one in our ward. What happens after the trial?
So they have 2 months with the electric vehicle, and then at the end of it, they get a report, basically, because they have telematics in the vehicles, and so we're able to give them a report which sets out the business case effectively, and give them facts around how many of their journeys have they done, that can they do on a single charge, what was the average distance that they did in a day, and give them some information about the kind of cost you know, the financial case really for investing in electric vehicles. They have to give us the vehicle back, because then we then pass it on to another participant. But around half of the businesses that have taken part have then either bought or leased a vehicle themselves, or say that they're considering doing so.
Okay, well, that's promising. All right, two more, thank you. The first one is the DEC. We're really excited to have funded that in Killingbeck and Seacroft, and I'm really looking forward to taking part in it. So if there's anything we can do to promote that, please let us know, because I think it's really important. What we're hoping for, and the reason we backed it in Seacroft, is we've had a whole stack of discussions actually in Seacroft about how do we make climate action relevant to residents, you know, in our ward. And one of the ideas we've come up with as part of the climate hub that we've set up is ways of making it benefit people, rather than, as you said at the beginning of your presentation, being something additional, you know, so that it is something fundamental to people's lives that actually benefits them on a daily basis. So it'd be really interesting to see where that goes. So that's more of a comment than a question. The last one is a question. Really interested in the green careers. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I'm a high school teacher as well as a counsellor, and David and I have a lot of links with our high schools in the ward. So again, if there's anything comes out of that you'd like to share, please do.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, thank you for your support. I'll make a note to share that with yourself, and we will be sharing it with all schools as well, via Leeds for Learning, and working more closely in 2022 with the council's employment and skills team and our economic development team, and we're all looking at how we update the council skills strategy, you know, to reflect the changing labour market and industries of the future, and climate emergency is one of those things, and we recognise that there is a need for raising awareness of you know, emerging green jobs, and so the event that we held was kind of the first thing on that agenda. There'll be more going forwards, and in the new year, as I say, we'll share that resource from the event.
That would be really good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Denise, you want to come back?
Yeah, I want to come back because it's something that Katie's just touched on there. Her last two items, I think they need to be brought back to the subgroups of the Inner East Community Committee, not just for Killingbeck and Seacroft ward members. I think they need to be able to be accessed by all the ward members of the Inner East, you know, and especially the champions that are in those champion roles, as in, you know, for the jobs and skills and for the environment.
Can I come in, Chair?
Ron, just hold on. Chad, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. And what I can also do, and because obviously there's only a limited amount of time to talk about what we've been working on in terms of climate action and the city's climate action plan, I can share the PowerPoint with all members on the call as well, and that does provide a much more holistic overview. But it is just challenging to try and fit everything in. But yeah, certainly in terms of exploring green career stuff, then when that is available, I can share that with all the members on this call.
But we do have subgroups. That's what we have subgroups for, and that's what we have champions for community committees for, to lead on these particular streams.
Happy to share it with whoever wants it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor Ron, please.
Thank you, Chair. I've been doing a lot of work with the railways, as they call in the rail daily news. You need to get onto that, Chad, as regarding looking into what the railways provide information on every day of the week. They can go and give you the information on decarbonisation where the railways are concerned. We never seem to touch on the railways in our discussions, but we're surrounded by railways. A pity we can't get one back into the Rookwoods. They prefer the moorland more than they do the cities, where people are having to travel on buses and cut down their pollution where buses are concerned. And the other thing is the intelligence unit at Leeds City Council. What information do we get back to support Salma as regarding this issue where she's raised about aerials and the youth and that, the effects on air pollution? Because there's so much air pollution. Even I have submitted some evidence to the Leeds and Bradford Airport on this particular case, or what they can actually give us back some information on, because they've asked for a consultation exercise, which is now going through the process. And here we have the situation where they airplanes are biggest polluters in some respects as regarding what they actually pollute across the lands and the seas and what have you. So there's a lot of things there, but the intelligence unit for Selma's case, I think we should look into what they actually produce in this unit in the Leeds City Council as regarding air pollution. And now come to the thing where the buses are concerned. First bus. Here we have a situation now that I use it every day of the week, 7 days a week. And I find that when they're standing to change the bus drivers over, they leave the bus engine running for some considerable time, having a chat about the changeover, which is part and parcel of the safety routine. But it does need looking into why they leave the buses ticking over while they're passing over the change of routes to the driver and that, like, you know what I mean? There's a real concern there. 56 bus route is a good bus route, but it just caused me some concern, having gone back into using the buses now. And I'd like something done about that. But what I'm coming to now is that where the highways are concerned, there's a real issue here there, because the amount of road blockages now where the bollards are concerned to get the work done, it's a fantastic opportunity for the highways department to promote themselves as regarding changing the city of Leeds the way they are doing. And air pollution, they need to look at where ammonia is concerned. How does it affect the air pollution, and get a paper on it? I've already submitted that to the Leeds and Bradford airports, the air pollution, through our representatives. Now, we need to get in touch and keep in touch with the representatives, actually, who are on the airport. And that's one of the things that concern me, that when they have to report back, we need to report back on what's going on at the Leeds and Bradford airport. Ammonia is a major concern for me.
Ron, thank you very much. Shant, you want to come back?
Yes, I can try and answer
Please.
those questions as best I can. In terms of bus idling, we can get in touch with them and ask them about what they're doing to stop buses idling, because well, any vehicle idling longer than it needs to is contributing unnecessary air pollution and costing money. Although it should become less of an issue as more of them gradually start switching to electric vehicles, because obviously then that they don't pollute. In terms of ammonia, and then I think that I'm just going to have to say I will contact environmental health and ask them for an update on ammonia. It's not one of the main pollutants of concern that we look at, but I'll ask them as the experts for an update on that. In terms of the data, and linking back to Councillor Arif's point, we do recognise that we need to make the data more accessible. As I say, the monitoring that we've got is on our website, but a lot of the monitoring is done by it's not real-time data as such. We have to collect it, get an average over a month, and it isn't the most accessible. So that is something that we're trying to do. And I completely take your point that if we can work with the intelligence team, then maybe there's platforms such as Leeds Observatory where some of that can be hosted. And in terms of railways, I think often a lot of the rail stuff it kind of happens at a West Yorkshire Combined Authority level rather than council level. But one thing I would say on that is, what we are trying to do more of, and you'll see in the next climate emergency update, is trying to communicate, I guess, what we can do and what needs to happen, but what we can't do. And a lot of the rail changes and decarbonising of rail would come under that. Obviously, the government has recently announced transport decarbonisation strategies, so we will have a look at that and potentially talk about how that would affect Leeds as well. But that's all I can say on rail, I'm afraid.
Can I come back in, Chair? Can I come back in?
Yeah, quick one, please, Sharon.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I've been knighted. Thanks a lot. That's good. I can come talk all day now.
I do understand that. We needed to look at time as well, Ron, please. Yeah.
I know you do. I know you do. The thing here as well,
all right, thank you.
The partnership that we're involved with on a daily basis, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 12 months of the year, Health and Safety Executive, where hydrogen is concerned. We need to link into that, Chad, as well. Form a partnership with the Health and Safety Executive. They hold a lot of information on hydrogen and its purpose for the future as regarding on the roads, in the tunnels and everything else that you should be made aware of. The Health and Safety Executive. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor.
All right. Anybody else, please? Okay. Quick things, Chad, please. Well, I mean, we're talking about air pollution side. Well, I'm not going to talk about this only for my ward, for Gibton and Harehalls, but I think we needed to compare across the city with other community committees areas where this is a high air pollution and where this is a high. Well, obviously, it would be more resources, more help to the local residents because if it's a high into the tail in the east, we needed to look onto that level too, please, for the future, to working with the local residents and to the elected members, right? Where is the high pollution is. Well, certainly I can say to you, I'm receiving so many complaints regarding about the roads are going to be narrow, right? It could be a cycle lane, bus lanes, right? So obviously it's a queue in the traffic, and obviously when there's queue in the traffic, will be a more air pollution then, right? So that's needed to be put onto the accountant for consider for the future, right? And for the east, in the east, comparing it with others across the city, please.
Yes, noted. I think that falls into a lot. I think there's 2 points there. I think firstly, that's about kind of tackling congestion, because as you say, where there is congestion, that will contribute to more air pollution. And obviously a key point of the Connecting Leeds strategy is trying to get more people out of the cars and into public transport, active travel, not taking such long distances, or car sharing, for example. So everything that we do, and that's what the Connecting Leeds strategy is kind of focused on, to reduce congestion will help with that. I think the second point there is also about linking with that work, as I said, about the targeted work to help people who are more exposed to air pollution. And I think when that work develops, we need to look at where people are more exposed as well, as you say, and those near main roads, for example, will be more exposed. And as I said earlier, even if you was on a parallel road to a main road that was a bit quieter, there would be a huge difference in what you was exposed to. So I absolutely take your point, and that will definitely be considered.
Thank you very much, Chad. I don't think there's anybody else. Well, once again, thank you very much for coming here tonight. You're more than happy to stay, and if you want to go, choice is yours, please. Thank you. Right, so moving on to the item, next one is item 9, basically. This is a highways winter service update. So it's Germany and the Richard.
Hi, Chair. Thank you very much. As I said, I'm Jeremy Lunn. I'm just here really to discuss and seek your comments with regards to a new winter tracking service that we've just developed that we launched back in October. So residents of Leeds are able to track our gritters whilst they're carrying out their duties. I'll go into greater details why we've done it, but first of all, if I can present my screen, I'll just go through a few headline areas that highways, the service that we do, but it's mainly to gain your comments with regards to the winter tracking. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. I am conscious that it's a wide left content that I'm streaming via Zoom, so it could be problematic. It's the first time we've ever done this, but we'll give it a go. And Tasha, I'm hoping for your help at some point if this is a problem. Let's have a look. I'll just see if can everybody see my screen okay?
Yes,
that's fine now, yeah.
Okay. So as I said, it's a winter service overview, including the launch of a new live gritter tracker. The winter service plan includes, Leeds City Council have a duty on the Highways Act 1980, and not to simplify it too much, but the main three core purposes of the winter service is the gritting of the roads, the refilling of salt bins, and snow ploughing and clearing. Okay, just a few little points of interest here. Our gritters can drive an average of 51,200 miles during a winter period, which equates to around twice around the earth. I know that doesn't really fit in the previous presentation that I've just done about the miles that we do. Unfortunately, it's a necessary evil, and I am aware that we are looking at other methods in which we can carry out this service and changing from diesel to hydrogen power and so on. But if I'm honest, that is in early days. So it was quite a good point that you made there, Councillor Graham, earlier. We use between 12,000 and 16,000 tonnes of salt to grit our roads in Leeds. You're probably aware that we do categorise our roads, which breaks down into emergency routes leading to hospitals and major infrastructure. Cat 1 roads, which are bus routes and school links. Category 2, which are medium business areas, shopping areas, doctor surgeries and medical centres. And the remaining category is remaining roads dependent on resources. So without trying to simplify it too much, is that we do all those major three areas first. And if we do get the opportunity and there's still availability, we will start going out to some of the more local networks and some of the smaller estates and gritting there wherever that's possible. Moving on, we've just done this, and it might be of particular interest to you members in terms of that. I'm sure you get a lot of queries come through asking why my street hasn't been gritted when it's either icy or snowing. And we've put together a flow chart here, which I can send out to you. We're hoping to put this and upload it onto our webpage, but we are seeking people's comments to see if it's fit for purpose and so on before we do that. So it's basically a flow chart and a diagram which breaks down the reasons why roads are being gritted and why they're not, basically. And we're hoping that if we can share this and members of the public will go online and look at this, they'll get to understand mainly if their road's not being gritted, why it hasn't been gritted, and give quite a rationale as to the reasons why. Okay, during the winter period, obviously the roads get cold and we set about gritting the roads. It's not just a question of sort of sticking the finger in the air and checking the ambient air pressure, air temperature to see if it's going to be cold enough to freeze and cause a hazard. We do have some quite sophisticated tools and equipment that's able to monitor the road temperatures and the ambient air temperatures, which does give us a really good indication whether we need to go out. Obviously, it's a very, very expensive exercise to grit the roads of Leeds, so we do need to be quite spot on with that. So it's all about accurate weather recording. Just going on now to the gritter tracker. We introduced this to help support the economy by giving citizens and visitors to Leeds the tools to choose driving routes, i.e. they can look on the live track and see if their roads have been gritted and make an informed decision about whether they choose to drive or not. Help reduce call times and pressures to the contact centre. We believe that the more information that we can get out there and get online will reduce the number of calls to our contact centre and hopefully give residents a better informed decision on what to do during inclement weather conditions. The gritting tracker will support Leeds City Council's ambition for a more digital infrastructure. And that doesn't go without saying, though. We do have the regular lines of communication in terms of telephone, because we're aware that not everybody does have access to the internet. Okay, moving on. Now, this is the part where we're not sure because it hasn't been trialed at the moment. So I'm hoping that this will launch via Zoom. I tried it early and it was working fine. Can everybody see a change in screen there? No?
No.
You can't?
Nope.
Let me just see if I can.
There's no live demonstration.
Just right. It may be a case that it's not possible to do it via Zoom, but I'll just try it again. As I say, this is new. The first time we've had to do this. Normally, I would attend in person, present it on an overhead projector. Let me just try it once more time. If not, what I'll have to do is I will have to share this with you at some point later, but I've got my fingers crossed. This might work.
Yes.
Can you see that screen now? Has that changed?
We can. It's blue and red now.
Fantastic. Oh, great. Yes. Okay, right. I'll just untick some of these boxes. What this is really, this is a live gritter tracker that we've developed. It is in very early stages and it's only been live and it is in trial mode at the moment. But saying that, it is live at the moment. It's quite unfortunate tonight, really, because the weather's not really cold enough. The gritters are not out, so we're not going to see any at the moment tonight. But I'll just go through the fundamentals with you. I hope you find it interesting and I'll welcome any feedback. So what happens is, on the council's website, if people want to look at the weather, the winter service that Leeds supply to residents of Leeds, they'll come onto the winter service plan, and then we'll see a drop-down box which displays tracker local gritter, and if they click on that, they will be presented with his screen here that you can see now. I'm zooming in and out of. Okay, so what it is it basically enables residents of Leeds to track gritters either citywide or within their local area, and that will give them an informed decision of whether their roads, have they been gritted, are they going to be gritted, or are they on a gritting route. So there's a drop-down menu here, and as I said, this is just a trial at the moment, so it's in a very, very basic format. So any member of the public will be able to click on these boxes here and it will populate the map with information. As I said earlier, there's no gritters out at the moment, or what we would see there on some of the roads is you would see gritters virtually in real time. I am aware that there is a 5-minute lag between a gritter going on the map and it moving again and as it refreshes. So this should come on in a moment. You should see that displays all the gritting routes within Leeds. They're all different colours. There's 30 vehicles that go out there and do that. And I'll just bring that up there. And that enables to say, well, they can see which major arterial roads and gritting routes that are on or nearest to them. There's other information in terms of the grit bins. As you can see there, I've just ticked the box where it brings up grit bins in Leeds. So residents will be able to see which grit bins are near them. You see there's quite a lot there. We don't have them all mapped at the moment, and probably a question that you might ask later on is, does it map the blue bins? And not all of the blue bins are on at the moment. As I said, we're in early stages and we're just getting to populate those. The yellow bins are on because we do have an accurate record of where they are all kept at the moment or placed within the city. This is, okay. Has anybody got a postcode that they want to give me? Because there's a nice little function here where you're able to put your postcode in that and actually zoom in your particular area just to make it easier for residents. Is there?
Yes, I'll give you the
okay, Councillor.
Through you, Chair. Leeds 9.
LS 9.
Grit bins. On behalf of the community committee, I submitted 2 pages of my request on behalf of my 2 colleagues where grit bins was required. I've not had any information back whatsoever. Now, I'll give you 2 examples here of the Lupton Avenue and Hudson Road, where there are 2 hills there. Heavy vehicles going up and down the road there on a hill, both hills and what have you. I sent 2 pages in at the beginning of the year and not even had a reply back on grit bins, where there was requesting us as councillors where they required more grit bins. Now then, the cost of them grit bins is something I don't know about. I don't know what the costs are, but I did submit it on behalf of my 2 colleagues before the winter period kicked in, early in the year when they sent the letter out the first time. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. I don't know, Richard, did you want to?
Sorry, if you could answer Councillor Graham's point and then I can give you a postcode. I just want to check if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Richard, do you want to come in there and
yeah,
pick that one up?
Yeah. If the requests come through, Council, it should have come through, and I'll look at those tomorrow when I'm back in the office. There should have been a grit bin assessment carried out if that was requesting for a highways bin to be put there.
Yeah.
I can get back to you if you can I'll just make a note of those streets and I can get back to you. We very rarely, if they're on a primary gritting route, we very rarely would put a salt bin there as well. So it could be, I think Lupton Avenue would be on a primary gritting route, so we wouldn't, unless there was a special circumstance, place a salt bin there as well.
All right, okay. Councillor Salmons, you want to come in, yeah?
Yeah, and I'll explain later why I gave you this postcode. It's LS8.
Okay, LS8, yep.
5HS.
5HS. Okay, so it's good here that we've got a live demonstration. Okay, so a user would be able to put the course code in just as I've been given there, and it would jump straight to their area. And you can see there that the gritting routes, I'm just going over some of them with my cursor, that's immediate to that property. And obviously we've got a couple of grit bins there that are mapped.
Right. So we've
what
got
was the question, Councillor?
Okay. The question is, and I'm sure Councillor Sim come into this is really interesting. I think it's really cool. Basically, we've got the Hare Hills Road scheme, and part of the Hare Hills Road scheme, we had a lot of road closures. And when we had the road closures, a lot of those streets that I've just given you, that area, that postcode is for the Shine building. We've got the Ashtons there and different, those particular streets. the Conways, we were promised by Highways, because those streets are effectively hilly streets, and the roads were closed, that we would get grit bins, basically. And I just wanted to check how many we've actually got, because what we had was, I think last year or the year before, where obviously the scheme's quite new, we didn't have the streets gritted, and we were told there'd be a special circumstance where we'd get the grit bins in and would make sure that our guys would go in more often, and I'm not sure that's happening. Might be a separate conversation, but it's timely for me to ask this question at this point.
I can look at that for you, councillor. I know, I know certainly the last couple of winters, as we've gone on to secondary routes, we've certainly done a lot of those streets that have been made one ways and they're awkward with the hills as part of the secondary routes. With a lot of those as well, the unfortunate thing is we can't use the normal gritter because it's an 18-ton vehicle. It's a big vehicle. And obviously there's a lot of parked cars in there, so we have to use the smaller vehicle, and obviously it relies on drivers being available because they have rest times and things like that. But I know certainly a number of times last year we treated them as part of the secondary routes, and I think even once I instructed for the lads to do them in advance of any snow that was coming, so they'd had a treatment.
Part of the consultation, it was part of the scheme that there would be special circumstances where those particulars, because the roads are effectively closed and we've got a lot of people, because of where their nature and where those streets are, we're literally on the doorstep of Jimmy's. So, you know, people would, walking down, they said that they'd have to wake up super early. So as part of the scheme, it was actually, I'm not sure if it was part of the conditions to say that we would make sure we'd have the provision there to make sure those streets that are closed down when we are able to get out.
Okay, I'll have a word with colleagues in traffic who did the scheme, and
but
see
it's
where
really
we are with that.
Good to see the demonstration.
Thank you very much, councillor. And so just sorry.
Arif, can I just come in on that point as well?
Sorry, go on now, Councillor Denise.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking about the Cliftons and the Knowles and the Brownells, because they come onto the access road to Jimmy's, and they're on a steep slope, and they go right across, and there's very little grit bins that are in there. So can we have a look at that as well, Richard?
Yeah, certainly. Where was that, councillor?
It's the Brownells, Cliftons and Knowles, which is a priority neighbourhood. Right.
I'll have a look at those and see where we are with them and feedback to you.
Because they're sort of in a three junction road. It's split into three. Is all those roads, and there's not a grit bin to be seen.
Right. Okay, dokes.
All right. Anything else, Councillor Reagan?
Chair.
Sorry, Councillor Maksud.
Yeah. Councillor. Chair. Exactly as Councillor Arif has said, in regards to the grit bins around the Conways, I believe from that map, we were desperately having the same discussions with Highways last year, was it, in regards to, is it Conway Road?
No, you're right. Yeah, for the Conways. All the street of the Conways and Ashtons last year.
Yeah, it was the Conways more, Ashtons as well, but it was the Conways because they're just so high and they're very steep, and we were just waiting for accidents to happen. So if you can please look at that urgently.
Yep, not a problem.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Maksud. Right. Anybody else, please, to the Highways, any concern, questions or comment?
They're doing a great job.
No, it's not all right. Councillor Ron, thank you very much. Thanks to the Germany and to the Richard. Before you go, I'm just going to add up. I'll be honest with you, right? For the Hayhills Road, it definitely was a promise with the scheme. Right? They're going to, well, obviously, highway was putting the bin into every single street because of the number of the street closed, no entry, and the block from the top or bottom, right? And I do receive the complaint last week. The lady was living in the convey and she was working for the Jimmies. And we all knows what difficult time was last year for the NHS staff to going into the hospitals or nurses' home or somewhere else. Right? We all know it was a very, very difficult time, not just only for in Leeds, across the country. Right? So I think that is definitely needed to look in. Right? And it was a very clear a promise with the scheme. Nothing is extras or additionals. It was with the schemes, which one is not being provided so far at all to the local residents. So please, Germany and Richard, if you can look at that. And
Yeah, no
be honest with you, right, this is a very good list is, and I can request to you, and I be honest with you, to you, Germany, and to the Richards. I think we needed to be more advertised this one, right, onto the local radio stations, where there's 2 radio stations local in East Leeds, and to the number of social media pages as well, making it everybody life easy. So obviously, there's somewhere the local resident can trace and they can check what's going on. So once again, thank you very much to coming here and to giving you all the full update report for the winter. And you're more than happy to. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, Councillor. Thank you for that. And we did mention about the local radio stations in the chair's brief previous to this meeting. I wondered if you would. You said you'd be able to get some contact details with regards to who were the best people we could contact, because we'd be really, really keen to get in touch with the 2 radio stations. I don't know, Tasha, if you've got a mechanism or you know the contact
Well, I'll
details.
do it, right? What I'll do it, Germany, I'll give it. Well, I'm sure that I will. One is Chapel FM for in East Leeds, right? And the second one is a Fever FM.
Chapel and Fever, yeah.
Chapel and Fever, right? So I'm sure that the Secret Out Council can help to provide you a Chapel's details, or Carl, if you can, Google it and give it to. I'm sure it must be on the Google.
Yeah, I can have a look under Google.
Google it. But I mean, I can give you the director number and name, mobile number for
it's fine. It's fine, Councillor. Because
can I just come in, please, Chair?
Yes, Katie.
Yeah, well, just to say that I chair the board of Chapel FM radio station, and I'll put the director's email into the chat for you. I'll do it now.
That's brilliant. Good. That's fantastic.
That's a very
thank you.
helpful and handy, Katie.
Is that
okay? Yeah.
Well, yeah, Councillor Sane and Jeremy, I was just going to say that we've actually got the contact details already.
All right, you are Chapel FM, and what about the Carl Fever?
Yeah, and Fever FM, we've got those, so I can send them straight over to Jeremy.
Well, can you share that? Can you share with Germany, please? So obviously, is the right times to go onto the on air after New Year's? Obviously, we will be all busy up to the Christmas now. So at least something can range Germany's and Richard for both Chapel and for the Fever.
That's great.
Okay?
That's
all right.
Brilliant. Thank you
very much. Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your attendance. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next is item. Is it 10? Finance report. Carl, please.
Lovely, thank you, Chair. So if I can draw the committee's attention to the finance report. First of all, I'll give the wellbeing update position.
Sorry, Carl, can you? Your volume's quite low. Are you able to put your volume up so I can hear you properly?
I'll try for you. Yeah.
Please.
Is that any better?
Little bit.
Any better?
It's not really good. I mean, I don't know. It's perhaps because you've got the earphones on. I mean, we can hear you, but you're just a bit subdued.
It's as high as we'll go at the moment.
All right. Okay. Well, if you have a full volume, so you can't do anything at all as well. Go and carry on then.
I'll try to speak up for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So in terms of the wellbeing budget position, so paragraph 19 in terms of the finance report gives the committee a remaining balance of £136,393.97. And then table 1 underneath gives the committee the remaining balance per ward. So in terms of Bermondsey and Richmondale, we've got £62,917.59. Killingbeck and Seacroft, we've got £43,093.51. And Gipton and Airles, we've got £30,382.87. So that's the wellbeing budget position. And then on the following page, we've got a number of projects that we're asking the committee to consider and approve. And I know that my colleague has circulated these prior to the committee meeting. So in terms of the first one, we've got Bermontoffs and Richmond Hill football coaching programme.
Carl, can I just come in on this one? Because we had a discussion, Bermontoffs members, on this one, and it was deferred for more information.
Okay. So do you want to be a hold of Councillor Reagan? Yeah.
Certainly.
That project title, Bermontoffs Hill football coaching programme for streetwork soccer, we had a discussion about this at our local meeting, and it was asked to be deferred and to have some more information from streetwork soccer of how it linked in with all the other football programmes that we've got going on.
Okay, yeah, certainly we can do that for you, Councillor Reagan.
That's fine, Carl. Thank you. Next.
Okay, so I'll move the committee on then. So the next one is Neerail Cromwell Street at Lincoln Green. Parks and Countryside Leeds City Council is the organisation. They're actually asking for £2,456 and it's proposed to come from Wellbeing, and that's from the Bermontoffs and Richmond Hill ward. The project summary is underneath, and we've also got the committee objectives underneath. Now, I'm not preparing to go through the project summary because I know the committee have had the finance report and they've probably read through this. So that's the project for consideration for that particular ward. Any comments on that one?
Go on.
Fine with that one. It's been.
That's fine.
Are you quite happy for the Bermontoff councillors?
Yeah, the other half was funded by the HAP last week, so that needs to go through. Yeah.
Needs to go. Okay, that's fine.
And then we've got the educational trip for low-income families. The organisation is St Vincent Centre. The amount proposed is £1,000 from Wellbeing, and once again, that's from the Bermontoffs and Richmond Hill ward.
Yeah, that's a goer.
That's okay.
Oh yeah.
Lovely.
Okay.
And then we've got a slightly different one. So this is for the Killenbeck and Seacroft ward. The project title is Scott Projects, and the organisation is Seacroft Community on Top. And they're asking for a substantial amount of money. It's £20,839 from Wellbeing, which is the total project cost. And once again, we've got the project summary and the committee priorities and objectives underneath that.
Killenbeck and Seacroft councillor, please.
Yeah, happy to support that.
Happy
Yep,
to
support.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, lovely. And then the final project for consideration is Noel Mount Community Centre, activating the space. The organisation is Leeds Community Spaces. They're asking for 5,200. It's proposed to come from Wellbeing. And once again, the ward covered is Bermontoffs and Richmond Hill.
Yeah, fine with that one, Cal.
That one's okay.
Are you okay with that, yeah?
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron.
Okay, thank you. And then moving the committee on. So paragraph 25 gives a list of all the delegated decisions taken since the last committee on the 21st of September. I won't go through those individually, but as the committee can see, the substantial number of projects that have been approved outside the formal committee cycle. And then if I can move the committee on to the YAF budget position. So paragraph 30 gives the remaining balance of £51,011.14. And then table 2 gives the remaining balance per ward. So Bermontoffs and Richmond Hill, we've got £35,468.77. Killenbeck and Seacroft, we've got £12,540.11. And finally, Gipton and Airles, we've got £3,002.26. And then moving on, we've got the small grants budget. Table 3 gives the remaining balance plus the balance per ward. So the overall total is £12,182.01. And the balance per ward is as follows. So we've got Bermontoffs and Richmond Hill with £2,454.17. Killenbeck and Seacroft, we've got £5,466.66. And Gipton and Airles, we've got £4,261.86. and 18 pence. And then if we can move on to the tasking budget. So the remaining balance in total is £5,252.44. And the balance per ward is Bermondsey and Richmond Hill, £121.48. Killenbeck and Seacroft, we've got £2,565.48. And Gipton and Ailes, we've got £2,565, and once again, that 48 pence. And then we're almost there. So capital to go through next of all. So the remaining balance across the committee is £85,659.59. And that's divided as follows across the 3 wards. So we've got £27,031.76 for Bermondsey and Richmond Hill. Killenbeck and Seacroft, we've got £19,177.33. And finally, Gipton and Ailes, we've got £39,450.60. And as the committee will be able to see, just above the remaining balance per ward in table number 5, the committee received a small capital injection in October that was divided equally across the 3 wards, so just under £2,000 across the 3 wards. And then finally, in terms of the finance report, in terms of the SIL budget, so there's a remaining balance of £75,673.07, and that's divided as follows across the wards. So Bermondsey and Richmond Hill, we've got £19,145.71. Gipton and Ailes, we've got £33,511.65. And then finally, Killenbeck and Seacroft, we've got £23,015.71. And what we will do for the committee is chase up the latest SIL injection figures. We've not had anything through from finances yet. Normally we tend to get something through roughly about October, November. Nothing has been forthcoming as yet, but we'll chase that up for the committee.
Thank you very much, Carl. Anything else on this financial report?
The more money that needs spending and not underspending, that's for consideration.
Okay. Members, any questions?
I think just we had a local Bermondsey and Richmond Hill meeting with community officers that have come with some projects to look at this money being spent. So councillors need to be at these meetings.
Okay, that's fine, no problem at all. But the college, a quick question is, what is the balance are remaining for each ward? Doesn't matter if it's well-being, capitals, or others, right? Are they, which ones we have to spend it before the end of the March, or which ones are going to roll over for the next financial years?
Well, ideally, Councillor Sen, I would say that in principle, all your wellbeing allocation and your YAF budget should be spent by the end of the financial year. SIL has a 5-year timescale attached to it. The government legislation states that in principle, any SIL receipt has to be spent through the committee over that 5-year period. Capital is slightly different, but I would certainly say in terms of your wellbeing and your YAF budget position, Councillor, saying that those should be spent within the financial year, ideally.
Okay, that's fine, no problem at all.
Can I come in, Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, it's been a difficult one with being COVID, particularly last year. There was so much money that we were going to spend for YAF, and things were allocated, and obviously a lot of those sessions and events just didn't happen. So, you know, just and even this year it's sort of been stop and start, hasn't it? And I think from our point of view, the YAF funding from a Gipton Harehill's point of view, we really did make the effort to get that going, but unfortunately just some organisations just said they weren't going to spend it because of the restrictions. Having said that, hopefully in next year, depending on what's going on, we can sort of go back to our communities and just really get some of this money spent and utilised in the right places. But I think it's been the last 18-20 months have just been unlike any we've faced, and therefore the money just hasn't been spent. because of those reasons. I think it's important to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I just clarify a point while Liz is here, Chair?
Sorry, Councillor Lunn
clarify
again.
a point here where Liz is concerned?
Go
Liz,
on.
we've been putting forward from the Temple Gates to the East Park View a footpath that requires doing for the last 5 years for the wheelchair access, the disabled access, the young kids, the young mums walking through the mud and everything there. It's there on file and nothing has actually happened. Temple Gates Estate to the East Park View where the supermarket is located. It used to be the old public house, and there's a need for that footpath to be put into place now with this amount of money that's available. Okay, Liz, I'm sorry to put that on you, love. Okay.
That's fine, Councillor. I'm not aware of that scheme, so I'll take it away and I'll pick it up with colleagues and see where it is, because it's not one that I'm familiar with. I will come back though, just in terms of what Carl said, is that the line is that we need to try and maximise the funding that's going out the door. Notwithstanding what Councillor Arif has mentioned, it has been difficult for committees. We recognise that. We want to be as flexible as we can. I think everybody in this room knows that we have got a financial pressure in the council at the moment, and which we're all being looked at to try and address service by service. So whilst we want to support you, and there's been no mandate from us that anything's going to change in terms of funding being rolled forward, I think that the message in terms of maximising any expenditure you can is really helpful and is really pertinent at this moment in time.
Can I come back on that?
One by one, please. Councillor Denise.
Yeah, I just said, Liz, that we had last week or beginning of this week, we had a meeting with our local team that came up with some schemes that we've been working up from Parks and Countryside, for looking at the issues that are needed in certain parks, looking at the youth opportunities with regards to the Leeds United football kicks and the extensions of the Normark community centres. Now, they've all come in, but when you haven't got a full councils at these meetings, it's hard to then really put that out and get them spent. So they are working that up at the moment, Liz, and I can assure you in January the Bermondsey and Richmond Hill side of things will be spent.
I totally understand. I know that you're all working really, really hard to spend the money that you've got in your committee area. So that I'm not disputing that, but and all the efforts that have been made by committee members to commit the money is really, really appreciated.
So, sorry, Chair, can I come in very, very briefly, just following Councillor Reagan's point? Denise, are they just meetings for the local ward, or is it for the whole?
Just for Bermondsey and Richmond Hill locality meeting, and the officers come back with the projects that organisations have put forward.
Okay, I think, but yeah, that's a good idea. Something for us to look at definitely as well in the coming year.
All right. Is that okay, everybody? Yeah. All right. Carl, we'll be moving on to the next item. Is yours as well, please?
Okay, so yeah. Thank you, Councillor Hussain.
Thank you.
So I had a quick conversation with the chair just before the committee, and we've agreed that normally what tends to happen is we assume that the committee have read through the update report. So I've agreed with Councillor Hussain that we'd take that on the same basis. However, I will just give a few really brief updates from the update report itself, just to draw attention to some of the work that has taken place recently. So I'll do it in terms of theme. So in terms of the health and wellbeing, the adult social care theme, obviously we've got the champions, Councillor Jenkins, but also Councillor Khan.
Can I just say there, Carl, on that one, at the last committee meeting, Councillor Khan withdrew from being a champion because he was Lord Mayor for the year, and I took on that.
Ah, right, that's good to know. I wasn't made aware of that. Apologies, Councillor Reagan.
Okay, make the note now, please, Carl. Fine.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. So in terms of paragraph number 4, it talks about the COVID-19 vaccination delivery. So just to draw really quick attention to the fact that as well as the vaccination centre at East Park Medical Centre. The vaccination centres both at Infinity, but also the Bilal Centre have both been a huge success. The updated leaflets to distribute to community members is now available for collection. So if anybody would like to take them up on the offer of physical copies of the leaflets, they can go and collect those. The centres are open between Wednesdays 10 till 4, but also Fridays 2 till 6. And then paragraph 8, 9 and 10 just draws reference to the vaccine hesitancy leaflets, working with faith leaders. And Public Health have developed some COVID-19 vaccination leaflets focusing on issues raised by faith organisations. I suppose in principle, the leaflets feature information on some of the myths and barriers that have been raised by local communities, but they also have some positive statements provided by faith leaders, but also the NHS staff. Importantly, the leaflets have been translated into 13 languages, and they also have a QR code on the back, which you can scan, that provides a verbal translation of the leaflet in any of those 13 languages. And in terms of the Public Health Resource Centre, once again, as we talked about leaflets, they can also send those out internally to some of the centres that are referenced in that update report. They can also send them out to external organisations, but once again, anybody can go and collect from the Public Health Resource Centre directly, and the centre's open from 10 till 3 every day of the week. And then if I can move on to the environment and community safety, obviously the champion is Councillor Reagan. Councillor Reagan, I'm still assuming that that is the case?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah.
Okay. Lovely. That's great. So we've got a really comprehensive update in terms of that key theme. So I just want to draw a really quick update or reference to the fact that some of the plans and work that took place in relation to our community safety partners and police partners. So paragraph 23 talks about some of the work that took place in relation to the bonfire night, and the really positive reduction in firework demand from last year. Now, I know the teams were working heavily on those bonfire preparations since as far back as June of this year, with some really effective partnership plans, but also diversionary work in the local communities. And I think that's a real positive, as the service saw no major disorder within any of the East wards. And in terms of some of the work, the really good work that took place in Bermondsey, Richmond-Hill and Gipton and Aerials, I'll just come on to that a little bit later. But I just think it was really important to draw a reference to that. And then if I can move on to the children and young people, and once again, we've got the champion of Councillor Reagan. I just want to really quickly talk through where we are in terms of the youth summits. And I'm sure for reasons that everybody will be aware, what we've decided to do is push back the youth events into next year. So really what we're now talking about is after the start of the new municipal year. And that's going to enable the communities team to hold further discussions with members of the children and family subgroups and the children's champions. It'll also allow us to explore options to inform those future youth summit arrangements. Importantly, alongside the latest government guidance regarding COVID-19, but also any safety measures that schools are putting in place over the following months. What we will make assurances to the committee of, however, is that we will circulate the online consultation survey. We've already got that created through the Voice and Influence team. We used that to good effect last year, not just in the Inner East Committee, but across the other 9 committees. And that will allow as many young people as possible to provide their feedback. And in principle, that will inform the budget spend for the Inner East Committee for the next financial year. So we're hoping to get that online consultation out as far and wide as possible after we all return from the Christmas break. So I suppose it's an ask in terms of ward members, but also Councillor Reagan as the children's champion, that if anybody has got any relevant contacts that we can send that online consultation survey onto, just get in touch and we will gladly provide that so we can send that out. And then if I can just move on in terms of some of the targeted work. So paragraph 35 to 40 talks about some of the work that's been taking place in Bermondsey and Richmond Hill. And it's in relation to that Halloween and bonfire period and some of the really important youth diversionary activities that have taken place. So that partnership worked really collaboratively and explored a number of diversionary activities this year, really with the aim to reduce antisocial behaviour across that period. We know that youth partners work speedily using funding from Leeds City Council to coordinate the following activities, and we've got a list of some of those activities below. So we've got outreach sessions, we've got diversionary table tennis sessions, we've got fun-packed afternoons, we've got residential activities, and we know all of that combined means that feedback across Inner East from most residents meant that they were able to enjoy bonfire night safely. We know there were a small number of isolated incidents that were managed by the West Yorkshire Police and the West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service, but I think all things considered, the feedback is that it's been a massive, massive improvement on previous years. And then just touching on some of that same work, but obviously referencing the fact that it's a slightly different part of the Inner East. So this talks about Gipton and Aerials. And obviously everybody will be aware that in 2019, Aerials in particular, saw lots of crowds throw fireworks and bricks at the emergency services on bonfire night. But it's just a reference that 13 people have now been convicted following that incident, with 5 people receiving prison sentences of up to 36 months. So beginning those origins now 7 years ago, we know that officers pledged to clamp down on violence, all of that antisocial behaviour, with a real focus on some of that improvement in the way that they work and building on some of that learning from previous years. And I know that that's culminated in a seasonal year-on-year locality working response with a really important emphasis on, you know, the way that we work together. Now, obviously this year, things have been done slightly differently. In light of the postponement of our Leeds City Council bonfires, the Safer, Stronger Communities team were allocated the task of upscaling that offer, but also helping to ensure that the cost savings were redistributed to provide diversionary activities across Leeds. Now, given those really tight timescales, we know that that proved a challenge, but the programme of activities did provide a comprehensive approach across that particular area. And once again, as I've referenced the other part of the ward previously, the feedback has been that the vast majority of residents were able to enjoy bonfire night safely. And once again, although there was a very small number of isolated incidents, those were managed really effectively by both the West Yorkshire Police, but also West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service. And that's it, Chair. I just wanted to draw attention to a few brief highlights from the update report and some of the really good work that's been taking place.
Carl, thank you very much. And I think it is a lot of, you know, the work. It's not easy for the Inner East. But I think it's very appreciated. All the work is being done. And members, any comments, any concerns, any questions?
Chair, can you not see our hands? They're on the screen. Do you not see it?
No, it's not coming up. I don't know why. Is there something wrong? Maybe it could be. Sorry.
Councillor Jenkins was before me, out of respect.
Sorry, Councillor Jenkins, go on.
Okay. Yeah, this is about paragraph 4 about vaccination delivery, and I've you know, the vaccination delivery has been fantastic most of the time. We've got a particular problem at York Road Medical Centre, which is sort of like in a residential area, really. And I've had a complaint today from a local resident saying it's been a bit chaotic, and I'm not sure how to resolve it, apart from hopefully people being a bit more considerate to local residents. But I suspect with the larger centres like Bilal, maybe, well, it probably is the same sort of thing, but we're getting people from all over East Leeds coming to York Road. And, you know, somebody got then wall knocked down. There's been some, you know, fairly difficult behaviour. So I don't know whether it's something that public health can look at, maybe through you, Salma.
Yeah, I try through you, if I may, please.
Yes, because Councillor Salma.
So Councillor Jenkins, more than happy to look at what the issues are. If you've got any sort of particular examples, please send them my way. Obviously, at the moment, there's a lot of activity in terms of vaccinations, and in light of the announcement from the government, it's in the heart of the community, so it's actually a really important place where we are. So it's in the right place. I honestly haven't had any complaints about Bilal Centre, other than that it's fantastic, which is really good to hear. But please pass it on to me. I'm more than happy to look at that. You know, this shouldn't be at the detriment of our residents. So if there's anything we can do to calm things down, I'm more than happy to look at that. Councillor Hussain, I had a couple of points.
Okay.
I wanted to raise. First and foremost, again, just looking at just some feedback, paragraph 7, the winter wellbeing. So we do have lower uptake in parts of our communities, particularly in the inner city area, in parts of Hare Hills, parts of Bermontoft. So we've obviously got to keep going with the vaccination message, but we've got to look at different ways in terms of how we do that. So what we trialled, and actually I've had some feedback, is in relation to the winter wellbeing events that have been happening in schools. So I know one happening in Homingham, one happening in primary school, and we've got the Shakespeare one as well. What worked really well there, obviously, we're talking about fuel poverty, we're talking about financial support and families that are struggling with food. They're actually coming to the school, which is a trusted place. We've happened to then take our nurse there, and we've managed to get 33 people vaccinated, which is really good. Councillor Denise is giving me a thumbs up. So I guess what I'm trying to say in this meeting is, whilst the numbers are low in some areas, perhaps there's different ways that we can get to those residents, which isn't the normal get your vaccine, because if they've not had it for a reason, but being different and innovative and flexible. So feedback in relation to the winter wellbeing events have gone really well. I think that's something we can continue doing. The other point I wanted to make was bonfire night went really well in Hare Hills. We had some brilliant organisation like Catch Street Team, just really, really good. Unfortunately, we had a lot of negative press from a particular news outlet that I'm not going to mention, but actually overall, just a big thank you to all the partners. This work doesn't happen on bonfire night. These meetings are happening months in advance, and I think it's really important that we acknowledge all the work and effort that goes in making sure that everything goes fine. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, perhaps I'm going to talk about it in any other business. Yes, sorry, forgive me. It's come to me. So the Hare Hills street drinking, again, a really joint approach by Bermontoft and Richmond Hill and Gipton Hare Hills councillors. We had a problem with, obviously, street drinking. It's not in the report because it is quite new, but we have now got the closure order, which is massive for us in Hare Hills and Bermontoft and Richmond Hill, because it will help resolve some of those long-standing issues that unfortunately the PSPO wasn't doing. So I'm really pleased that we've got that closure order. That's all from me for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm really sorry that it's not coming onto my screens. I don't know why.
Thank you.
Right, and anybody else have any questions? Yes, Denise.
Yeah, just to echo on what Councillor Arif has said there about the street drinking, that was on my list to speak about, and it's really
reading
good.
Your mind.
Pardon?
I say she's not reading your mind, Denise.
What's that supposed to mean? No, I'm saying that it's really good.
It was in your list, and she highlighted it.
Yeah, no, she did, and I'm saying that's really good.
Yeah. Good,
what have you got a problem?
No, he's trying to say that. Is she reading your mind? We're
right.
That's all.
Yeah, well, and I'm just saying, because we've got the, I think it's a lot of thanks need to go to our antisocial behaviour teams and our communities teams, because it's not, and to Touchstone, the group that are doing the actual day-to-day, face-to-face work with these hardened drinkers, that it's not an easy overnight fix. This is a long-term solution to a really difficult problem, and all it does, it moves it on, and that's what's happened. It's moved from the Compton side, it's moved to back of the Bellbrook, it's now coming up both sides of Hurdles Lane. So we have to really focus in on that. But really, hats off to our communities teams and our antisocial behaviour and Touchstone. And I just also want to touch on the work that environmental services have done with regards to. I've been harping on with my other two colleagues for over a year to get a PSPO, which was originally in Harehills, and it did some good work in trying to clear the areas up with bins being left out and waste. And we've now finally got that PSPO in the side of the Comptons and the Knowles and the Cliftons, and all up towards the top end of Hurdles Lane. So that's a really good, again, example of working closely together with all departments of the council and neighbouring colleagues as our councillors, and we've managed to get something positive for local residents. So thank you.
Good. Thank you very much for it's good for the PSPO. To be honest with you, it does make a lot of difference, Councillor Reagan and Ron, because it go happen with overwall. To be honest with you, right? It's I'm not going to say it's going to be finish all the things, but at least it's a good things to to making it improving to the areas. That's a really good news for the PSPOs, for the your part as well, Denise and Ron. Anybody else?
Yeah, can I come in, please, Chair?
Yeah.
Just a quick one following Councillor Jenkins and Arif's conversation about York Road Pharmacy. Okay. Hopefully this is helpful. That I raised this with yourself, Councillor Arif, in September, and you secured some action for me. And the response I'm looking at now that came from Victoria Eaton said that the pharmacy has a contract which should include adequate and effective marshalling. And clearly, after the complaint in September from a different resident, that happened because things calmed down and got better. Rather topically, I had my booster there this morning and there were no marshals at all, and it was absolute chaos. There were cars parking on people's verges and double parking, and cars couldn't get through. So perhaps just a reminder that their contract needs to provide adequate marshalling might solve the problem.
All right, Carl,
yeah, I'll chase that up again.
And Councillor Solomon, if you can make the note too, please. Yeah,
I'll do that now.
Thank you very much. Right, any other business, please? David?
Yes, okay. So two things. One is I don't think we've had domestic violence and the local care partnerships on the agenda recently, and because of the work we've been doing in Killingbeck and Seacroft, and I know that Councillor Reagan was interested in sharing that. I think it's a great piece of work, and hopefully we could perhaps get somebody from that team to come to another meeting shortly. And the other issue is that the Centre for Ageing Better has just produced a report called The State of Ageing in Leeds, which came out about a week ago. And again, if we want to concentrate a bit on the work around elderly people, then this is a really good starting place. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Have we made the note? Is it Carl? Oh no, sorry, Tasha, in it?
Yeah, it'll be in the minutes, Chair.
Yeah, it'll be in the minute, yeah. And let's see how we can move it for the future community committee meetings, please. Inviting to somebody from the departments.
Check something else as well, please.
Sorry, yes, Councillor Solomon.
One more thing. Just be interested to get colleagues' views on this, but I'd like to have somebody or the committee write to perhaps Eve Roodhouse in relation to 2023. It's not a million miles away, but I'm not entirely clear what's happening with in our neck of the woods. And I've had a couple of local organisations ask me that they've not really heard much. So what I'm keen to know is what involvement our local organisations are going to have within 2023 and what input we as elected members can have with that as well. I think it's important we talk about this now rather than it be left last minute. There is a sense from some organisations that they're not fully involved. So maybe a conversation on an update. But from my point of view, the key is that we utilise our local organisations and really get them out there from our end. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Any others?
Just to come in and say 100% support that. We'd really welcome that too. So thank you.
Good. Thank you very much.
Can
Anybody else have any?
Can I just say this, Chair, to finish it off on that?
All right, over go. Councillor Brown.
Consultation is out and open at the moment for the Police and Crime Bill to Tracy Brabin, the new West Yorkshire Combined Authority Mayor and the Mayor of West Yorkshire in general terms. She's seeking responses as regarding police in your local area, Chair. So if anybody can put the pen to paper, then get it off to Tracy Brabin, the Police and Crime Bill. She likes to know what's going off in the ward. Okay.
Right, good. Thank you very much. That's it. Anybody else? Any other business? Right, okay. The next, sorry.
No, not that I'm aware of, Chair.
No, okay, that's fine, no problem at all. So obviously the next meeting is the 16th of the March, 2022 at 6 p.m. It's I'm not sure, are we going to do well, obviously we're not sure what will be happen after New Year's. We're looking across the country. So there'll be a circle then to the members. There'll be a Zoom or to the face-to-face meeting.
Face-to-face.
Yeah, I do understand. Well, it's all dependent. What will be happen across the country in the council room. So can I thank you very much to every single person, to the members and to the officers as well, to attending it. And have a good Christmas and New Year. I'm not going to say have a safe journey home because we're all home.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.